Thank you so much. Big round of applause also to Realty Plus and Unitern for organizing this. Let's have some energy from the audience. I like that. It's always a more difficult task when eminent speakers like Khushru ji, Madhusudan ji, and an eloquent speaker like Srini, Navin have already been on the stage. But I'm glad we have eminent panelists with us today. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Samir Arora, and my main job is moderating big names of Bangalore real estate on stage. Thank you, Realty Plus, for being my partner in crime today. In a city like Bangalore, where innovation reshapes industries continuously, real estate is evolving too. And we are moving beyond simply building projects to building platforms for execution, collaboration, and scale. And this is where developer as a service, DaaS. By the way, I've always been reading as DaaS. It's only today that I heard it as DaaS. But can it define how real estate is built and sold in Bangalore? And that's the questions that we are getting to. But before I ask the question to the panelists, a small recital. Land has a dream. Investors have a vision. Cities demand speed. And between them stands a new force. Not just a builder, but an enabler. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the rise of developer as a service. In the past, real estate was about ownership. Today, it is about orchestration. Ideas, land, capital, and expertise coming together like a symphony, and the symphony is named DaaS, Developer as a Service. So welcome Angad Bedi Sarji, Mr. Mallana, Navin ji, and Pavan ji. So Developer as a Service is actually not a new concept. Somebody like a Srini was talking about it as an absolutely new concept. It's not. Many of us have actually experienced it at home already. Our spouse tells us what to build, how to build, and when to finish, and just execute the project. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the original DaaS model. So my question is to Angad Bedi ji. Bangalore projects often face execution delays. Can the DaaS model bring discipline and predictability to the project delivery, as Srini was talking about?
Thank you, Samir, for the question. Broadly, you've seen that overall the development has been a 100-year story. And as a group, we've been there backward integrated, with construction been our forte for 70 years. It's past 2 decades since early 2000s, the evolution of real estate, which is coming in, that private developers started getting into providing housing, which was predominantly a government or a industry body job to do so, to fill in the vacuum between the consumers and as well as the demand, which was coming faster than which could be provided. As what we saw in unregulated environment, the system was not there initially for the framework for the early decade of 2000, where this rise of real estate came in. It was the decade after where unregulated environment led to the collapse, and it is only when we saw all the framework, policies, effects, rules, regulation, and each one ideating its own rights to what they stand for, started putting a system, which the system post-COVID started reflecting to the outcome today, what we see as a result of the industry as the India shining story of a new ecosystem being built. And the result of that system is careful eradication of financial indisciplines, and it is also slowly a crawl in and build up of a professional environment wherein very stringent protocols being put in by promoters, professionals, managers to run the industry from a holistic manner, to make it risk-free, right from making the land to the key concept diversified, is where I think the overall system and the concept of DaaS is synonymously getting built in and getting built for the future, wherein it is going to be an unstoppable force.
Fabulous. That deserves a bigger round of applause from the audience. Angad, fantastic. And what I notice, whether it's Madhuji speaking or Khushruji or you, I think it's similar facts that coming out, and that discipline would be essential for all of us to move forward. But in DaaS, the landowner owns the land, the investor brings in the capital, and the developer executes the project. Actually, if you look at it, at home it's very similar. My spouse owns the vision, controls the capital, and I am the developer as a service right in there. So, you can correlate the models. So my question is to you, Navin. Material costs in Bangalore fluctuate constantly, across India actually. So how can DaaS help standardize procurement and control the construction costs?
So before I answer that the whole, the linking what you're doing to the family, that is why now I understand why you read it always as DaaS and not as DaaS. Because husband is always the DaaS.
Wonderful. Born DaaS.
Yeah. So see, materials or commodity is subject to the demand and supply. And again, it is also linked to, unforeseen incidents. Now, right now, we are the Iran-US war, what we are seeing is changing completely the dynamics of how the costing is going to work, right? You go to any restaurant today, all prices have changed. Whether you go to a small idli restaurant, they may be saying, today I'm doing idli chutney, I've stopped doing sambar because the gas is not available. And the prices have gone up by 30%. Today, a lot of our projects or infrastructure work has got stopped because of asphalt, bitumen not being available. So, let us understand we are living in a capitalism, and we have now with increasing number of, unforeseen activities, like whether it is COVID or Iran-Iraq, there's 3 years almost, which is the Ukraine and Russia war is happening. So with all those dynamics now being there, the commodity pricing will always remain unpredictable. What a system and process can do is, as what we are showing about PHI and where we are doing the health index, shows that what is going to be important where and how to manage that. With our tie-up or our ownership along with ArisInfra, where we buy in a lot of stock, Shni was already explaining that we are one of the few people who are able to provide the asphalt because we buy in bulk, we have the capacities to provide material. So what we can help you is how to cross over the problem. How to mitigate the problem. Can we take away the problem? No, it is a problem. It is a problem. We can't live with it. Right? Whatever your wife says, you have to do it. You can't. The good and the bad, you have to live with it. But what we can do is just say sorry and keep moving every day. So we all do that. So same thing, we can help you with the systems, processes to decide, to work what is going to be your problem, when what material is important, what is the right time to probably buy, have that ability, non-dependence on completely third parties where we can provide you the material. Those kind of service we can do, but we cannot completely take away the problem, just in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. That was very practical. Thank you so much for giving that. And I'm glad you've got the correlation. I see a lot of faces which are probably hungry. And that's where the laughter isn't coming through, and we are just trying to add a little humor to the very serious subject. But Mallana ji, before I come to you as a question, I think it's got very established after talking to Navin that, developer as a service, if you ask any of the married developers, they will tell you they've all been running SaaS model, the spouse as a service model for years at home, So my question is coming to Mallana ji, if a developer offers an end-to-end project, execution as a service, what does the ideal management framework look like? I'll add to the question, does that actually define the fundamentals of DaaS, and what is truly a disruption in the industry?
So with whatever, good evening everybody, and thanks for this opportunity to be sitting here and talking about this. There are, I think with whatever the little I observed and heard about DaaS, and there are two parts to it. One part is about the DaaS as the tool that what we see in the computer and how you manage the projects and etc. Second thing is fundamentally questioning the role of the developer, or to say that Developer is somebody who goes to the landlord and enters into a joint development agreement, or go to an institutional investor and raises the money and puts that money and buys the land and then monetizes it and moves forward. And what DaaS is talking about it is that developer as a service is about, if you are a landlord and if you want to develop your land, then I'm going to be coming in and I'm going to develop everything that the developer does. It's not a new concept. There is always a development management model that was available. There is one lacuna in that model wherein what used to happen is development manager used to come in as a service provider truly on a service agreement basis. What it really means is that we are some professionals who have built a real estate development company, and we will come in and you are going to give us on the top line 7% or 8% or 12%. And we are going to develop it and give it to you. It's all hunky-dory. It's when it's great, everything is great. What happens is that, as everybody spoke about the cycles, when the cycle is on the other side, let's say the sales are down and now we are looking for money to complete the project. And the development management manager says that, now I'm a development manager and my job is only to provide you the service, so I can't bring the money to do the development for you. Now you go and raise the money for completion of the project. Whereas the landlord does not have the bank balance or the bank or the efficiency to go and raise that money to complete the project. And this was something that actually failed the development management model altogether. What DaaS is trying to say is that, okay, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to bring in the capital that is required to do what is required to complete. So it's very close to what a joint development agreement that is happening, and only difference that what I see is that it is bringing a little bit more transparency. As developers, what we say is that, look, I am the developer, I am the specialist, and you are coming to me and you are giving me the land to me, and I'm giving you whatever the advances that are there, and then we have entered into an agreement, either I'm going to give you the shared space or your revenue is going to be shared. So whatever that happens after that is opaque. And what maybe DaaS is saying is that we are transparent with you, we're going to show you everything, where money is required, I'm going to bring it in, and wherever that the help that is required, I'll continue to do the project and continue to do that. And to do that, they've got this tool that they're talking about that predicts and allow you to control the project from start to finish. It's a model. So for me, what it is that every model, every business strategy is great as long as we can execute it right and do it well. So I think, and in that way, I think the DaaS has got a great future, considering that there are a lot of, now that with the consolidation that happened, the developers community is the larger are getting larger and the smaller are going away. And wherever that the entry barrier for becoming a developer is becoming higher and higher and higher. So it's not possible somebody having a 5 acres or 10 acre land becoming a developer is a gone case. Now it's not possible. So in that context, and I think DaaS has got that space where I think there is a gap that they may be able to fill it in.
Fabulous. That's a different perspective. Thank you, Mallana ji.
So if I can add to it, Samir. See, developer as a service, what we are talking about is just comes as an alternate. If you look at it, what we are talking about is bringing the predictability. Now, if you look at it in a good market, a good brand, a listed company, Puravankara, Godrej, Prestige, Brigade, they are selling and they are selling very well. In a bad market, they are selling even better, which is surprising. Why is it? Because the market share goes up. Because in a bad market, the customer is worried that if the things are going slow, all the small developers who have been slow-called doing well, he was talking about every gully developer is doing 150 crore, 300 crore. Now, in bad market, now the customer starts worrying. Because he says, boss, building complete होगा क्या? इसका financial closure है क्या? In a good market, they are looking, नहीं आज नहीं खरीदा तो कल 500 रुपया बढ़ जाएगा भी ले लो. They are not thinking all that. But in the bad market, they start thinking all this. So that is where all the big brands like Puravankara, Brigade, Prestige, they all come into place. Because all the system processes, what we are talking about, they already kind of have it. They are providing that service. What DaaS is trying to bring in is only an alternate to those, there are other landowners or smaller developers who want to achieve the same efficiency, predictability, and if that is required, then they need to adopt the systems, services, the capital, and that is where our DaaS comes into place. Because if they want to build the same kind of a predictability, they want to compete in those larger brands, then they need to be predictable. The customer needs to think that they have a financial closure, they will complete the building in time, they will give what was promised in terms of quality, and that is where the entire DaaS comes into for those small landowners and the developers who cannot otherwise get the resources and money which is causing the problem.
Wonderfully put. I wish we had a little more time with both of you on a slightly different perspective there. And if we have time later, we will come back to it. I would like to add a little opinion. But for now, I'll move. I have only learned one thing, and Srini, Navin, I will request one thing. I don't know if I'm eligible, but if you could give me a service level agreement of DaaS, I've never seen one, because I already know at home I have an agreement on the spouse as a service, and I personally think that's much, much stricter. But Pavan, I'll come and ask you the question. From a buyer's perspective, could DaaS improve quality, transparency, and delivery timelines, especially in Bangalore projects?
Good evening, everyone. I think fundamentally, majority of the developers, I think their intent is in the right place. I don't think promoters particularly, I don't think there is any promoter, at least in today's market, who starts a real estate business saying that, he wants to not run the company efficiently. I think everybody has the right intent. Like rightly Srini also has put it, Navin also has been saying that, it's always the promoter who suffers the most. So now what can DaaS actually help out to, like what Navin was telling about, predictability, I will call it anxiety. So what it will do is today, to give an example, what is Swiggy doing today? Food has been delivered from restaurants to your home even before Swiggy existed. You would call the restaurant, they would deliver the food. But of course, what happened in the process was you were always calling the restaurant back again every 10 minutes saying, has the delivery boy left? The guy would always say, yeah, he's left, while the food was still preparing, right? So what did Swiggy did today is solving that anxiety problem, right? Which is from the time I ordered till the time it's delivered, I know exactly what's happening at every point, which is exactly what, from both sides of the table, even the promoter of a real estate company wants to know that, even your customer who has bought your home also wants only these two things. So as a promoter, I think when we go to work, all we want to know is this anxiety of this whole thing. And unfortunately, our real estate companies is like multiple companies within a company, right? Every department is a separate company, and they don't talk to each other. But everybody has the right intent to talk to each other, but nobody talks. It's the promoter who is always anxious about this whole thing. Who is going to talk, right? So that is what so I would say, predictability, I like the word anxiousness, which is, this anxiety is being solved for a promoter. Similarly, that anxiety can be solved for a customer also, right? Similarly, if we are following all these procedures, we can be that transparent to a consumer in terms of what we are doing, which will immediately bring transparency. And today, majority of times we have seen, while in the pandemic time also, nobody could do anything. All we did was we just communicated with our consumers, saying, and nothing. It was the same communication every week, which is, status quo not happening, we are there, we'll finish the project. That reduced their anxiety quite a bit. If we can add numeric parameters and metrics with the way they were doing, the PHI is a very interesting concept. If we can add those metrics and actually inform our consumers about that, a lot of their anxiety is solved, and majority of the time, your consumers are very understanding. They just want to know. And nobody communicates, right? It is the biggest problem. If we just communicate, and a lot of times, promoter wants this communication to happen, just that he doesn't know. I mean, the teams don't know what to communicate, right? Because everybody is working in their own teams. So that reduces a lot of this. And if you get all of these things together, and if you can reduce the anxiety on both the sides, to a promoter and the consumer, I think every other parameter will fall in place. Yeah.
Fabulous. I don't know how many of you noticed, while you were talking, with all of that IIT knowledge that you have and build up, Srini there was already typing out, saying, hey Claude, please build the model with anxiety and communication for all the consumers. So fantastic.
Boss, it was a very beautiful example. As you were speaking, I said, this one I'm going to use every time.
Absolutely.
The Swiggy example was amazing.
You know, one factor, I see a lot of faces in the room who are channel partners, who are realtors, right? And while we are hearing the developer's opinion, I personally feel that channel partners drive a huge percentage of sales in real estate. So it is also important to note how can DaaS empower brokers and real-time inventory, marketing support, and transparent commissions, which are the factors that CPs are looking at. Brokers don't want promises. They want inventories that they can trust, marketing that can help them sell, and commissions that probably arrive without a reminder. And that's exactly where I think DaaS will have a role to play and can become a game changer. Channel partners drive sale, but they hate three things: outdated inventory, weak marketing, and chasing commissions. And I think the DaaS model fixes all three. So when brokers trust the system, realtors trust the system, they sell with confidence. And that's where a whole win-win for all stakeholders come in. Sorry, I decided to take that question on myself and answer it. Angaji, nobody wants to miss an opportunity in life. I remember once I ate a paracetamol by mistake. I called my wife and I said, what do I now do? She says, come home, I'll give you a headache because I don't want to miss this opportunity. So in a market as competitive as Bangalore or Gulf that you are handling, can DaaS shorten the time from project launch to sell out?
So interestingly, I would have used the same simile that today, be it healthcare, earlier there were general physicians, there were paracetamol. Today we have specialized doctors of each part of the blood, each part of the eye being looked as a micro. We're looking at F&B, there was butter chicken, and now we're seeing artisanal cuisines being evolved because the palate of the individuals has evolved. That's the system of real estate that people are now bored out of the conventional way. They want super specialization, they want perfection, they want the experience, and like the food being cooked in open kitchens, today DaaS provides you that model that right from land to the process, transparency comes in, your experience and outreach from the customer to the developer is more effective. We have technology which becomes an enabler, and today putting all the systems into place and watching it, we are ensuring timelines are met, which are the most critical aspect for every part of the ecosystem which is involved into the delivery of the project.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. You know, fund crunch is a big issue. Actually, in COVID, I learned, I don't know how you all developers survived. I was doing extremely bad. I couldn't pay my car loan EMIs, and the bank sent the goons to take away my car. And that's the day I actually remember that I sat down and thought, why didn't I take marriage loan also? You know, because I couldn't pay the EMIs. But Navin, my question is coming to you. Some people understood it later, I guess. So would DaaS allow small landowners and developers to execute projects with the professionalism of large developers? You said DaaS comes in to help the smaller developers and builders, but how does it help them to execute it with the professionalism of large developers? Because that will be a game-changing equation.
So, the answer is simple in that. You know, we always say the answer lies in the question itself. What we need to simply see is what is large developers doing? What are they adopting? Correct? If you see, you were talking about the outdated inventory, commissions not coming in place. If you look at, see, one of the important things what you see is, real estate is a very basic industry. You keep to the basics, you keep the fundamentals right, you cannot go wrong. What are they doing? They are saying, first, maximum loss happens because of delay from acquisition to launch. That is the time I have seen n number of projects, and Kushu sir would have seen 20 times of mine, that the whole focus of a developer is in buying the land, is getting the FSI. Once the land is there, then they take a very long time deciding what should be the product, how to do it. Then obviously we have government as the best partner and the biggest partner. Then it takes, without naming, as sir was saying that today we are not giving names. I can give you an example of a developer where his project purchase or JDA to approval took close to 3 years. Then after that, he suddenly decided, boss, the market has changed. I want to go to smaller units. He again spent 2 years to change the product now. Now with that things happening, what happens with that is you bought the land at 100 crores. Probably you put 40 crores, you have taken 60 crores as leverage. If 3 to 4 years have gone, with your holding cost of your equity plus the debt, the land itself, the value, notional value with interest has gone to 200, 250 crores. So the entire feasibility of it, what we're talking about, we're talking about that one guy, developer is making 300 crore profit, another guy is making probably 50 crore of loss. We have seen a number of those actual examples happening on road. Because we are not understanding that you can sleep, you can eat, you go for a travel, that meter is on. And that is where the entire feasibility of the entire project goes away. So the planning has to start, the designing, the product, the research has to start before the land is being acquired. From the day you decided you want to enter into the land, we miss out on those aspects. A large developer, what is he doing? He is designing from the time when he decides this MOU is signing, I will do this land, his entire team gets into the designing phase. They are getting into the financial closure of that entire thing. From how much of corporate loan is supposed to come for the land, how are we going to the working capital, what is my actual budget, the technical teams gets into the feasibility, you sit with one of the large developers, when in the business development meeting also when you are sitting, they have done the entire research, they've gone through the Shank, they've gone to the revenue record, they have gone through the what Nala, what everything, 1905 map we have in Bangalore, all those things are already seen by the time you are purchasing, they know what can go wrong and what cannot go wrong. What we don't do. The entire systems are in place, the SOPs, what we keep talking about, are in place for acquiring the land from day one. They know when they are going to launch, and they know, Brigade is sitting there, so let me use that example. They have recently launched one project in Nagasandra. I was talking to one of the CPs out there. They launched 416 units, sir. 2 weeks, they sold more than 400 units. And the channel partners and all were admiring that their inventory management, we don't talk about such things when we're talking. Sure. Their inventory management was such thing that day 1, day 2, day 3. They ensured first day, all the worst stock went up. By the third day when they were there, they were at very good inventory. So those kind of thought process, the internal inventory management, make the entire change. So put the processes in place, put the efficiencies in place. You need to have a great team, right? We're talking to someone right now who's planning to do an NBFC, saying, I need to now start hiring crore people, 1 crore people, 2 crore people. I need to grow to that size, but now to start that, right? So that is the same problem small developers are having. How are they supposed to get a very strong sales guy? How are they supposed to get a construction guy which has, let's say, 20 years of experience to bring the value engineering into place? They are doing 1 project, 2 project, 3 project at a time. The project gaps are quite large, right? You complete 1 project, the second project will start probably after 2.5 years or probably 1.5 years, right? That's what happens. What is he supposed to do with the sales guy? What is he supposed to do with the construction guy? How much team can he manage? The overheads will kill him. That is where we need to bring out, the real estate developers at the smaller level, they need to be lean, efficient. They need to have the right kind of people. If their strength is the right land acquisition, develop, landowner relationships, they need to focus on that. They are probably very good at managing the environment. They're very good probably at getting the approval. They maybe have some vision and they may be involved in the designing. They do take care of that part, and then everything else can be outsourced. You bring the efficiencies, the technology, what a grade A developer is doing. You get the best sales guys and the best sales management. You get a proper tech-driven CRM system who will tell you what is happening. What is the aging analysis of each of the customers? That a customer has bought in July, it is 6 months. We are still at 3 lakh. Do you expect the developer to see that? No, the systems has to talk about that. Those are the things which we need to bring. And for that, you have to outsource that. A small developer trying to bring in, there's no magic wand. It's just not possible for him and it is not right for him to do it. So we just need to outsource this, get the best technology at probably 1/10 the price if he has to do it.
Superb. Absolutely superb. I can share the secret now. the 4 or 5 developers who are going to sign up on DaaS after this whole long speech from Navin. He's promised me, assured me commissions on it. That's why I allowed him the whole floor. But this was fantastic knowledge. Big round of applause to Mr. Desu Pratap and Brigade sitting here for that example. And I'll tell you what, I had an ambition to become a speaker. And there is one person who absolutely spoilt it for me. He has finally arrived. Give a big round of applause to Mr. Ashwinder Singh, because of whom I'm moderating it here today. Ashwinder ji, welcome. Mallana ji, before I come to you, you know, this city is all about technology. It's all about IT industry. Will probably become about AI. And it's my favorite joke, even though I repeat it often. You know, there's so many guys here who talk about Java all the time in this IT industry. And I remember when I was in college, I mastered the art in Chandigarh and I practiced not one but 2 different Javas. I did Mer Java and Mid Java all the time. So talking of Java and technology, what role can technology platforms and data intelligence play in managing the project timelines, materials, contractor ecosystems, especially under DaaS?
Yeah, I mean, what technology has become the equalizer. What used to happen in earlier days, the kind of processes and procedures that were put together, as Navin was talking about, there are many number of disciplines within a real estate organization. It's like putting together a Venn diagram wherein you have different departments coming together. When Venn diagram, the circles intersect. What used to happen is that there used to be that coordination problem that used to happen. Today, with technology coming into play, that everything has become transparent. And for example, your Salesforce or your SAP or any of the tools that you use, and with the kind of dashboards that you get, and you have everything in front of you to make decisions. Now add a layer to that one called AI. AI, what it's going to do is that now, before we used to go and have to look for the data and to analyze the data. As we go forward, the moment you get the question about what is that you want to know, then you pose the question, and probably the system should be able to go into the entire data set and be able to retrieve the data and give you that what you are looking for, thus increasing the efficiency. Not only that, and on the other side where the customer data and the customer acquisition and all those things that where the technology has leaped forward so much today, to an extent wherein the marketing and the sales, that the amount of bearing that we have with all your Facebook and your social media, like your Google and other places, where almost now 40% to 50% of the money is spent on the technology to acquire the customers. So I think technology plays a big role in every aspect of development, whether it is timeline crunching or whether it's talent acquisition or whether it is customer acquisition, customer management, your CRM management, and every facet of our business. And I think it's going to be important for all of us to look at it in a fresh perspective as to where we can utilize that and be open-minded, because there may be people like me, old-timers, who say that, no, I know we have been doing this for the last 30 years and it works like this. Maybe things are not going to work like that going forward.
Absolutely well said. They say disruption hurts except the people who are disrupting. So I think we need to get there. But Pavanji, collaboration is the key. Even I tried once. I saw a falling star once, and they say your wish comes true when you see a falling star. So I wished with the star to give me the power to understand my wife. The falling star went back and joined the own star, So it didn't work for me. I wish I had DaaS then. But could the DaaS model eventually create a plug-and-play ecosystem where landowners, developers, contractors, and realtors, brokers collaborate seamlessly?
So I think, like I was saying earlier also, all the stakeholders in this whole ecosystem, I think everybody's intent is in the right place. Everybody wants to be successful by doing the right things. For example, if you're talking about landowners always want good developers to partner with, and every landowner will have a different sort of a developer you want to partner with, right? It's like horses for courses depending on your land. Similarly, if you look at, how the system DaaS is really helping, the anxiety part which I was talking about, the solving of the anxiety. For example, a good example, you're talking about the contractors ecosystem, right? Today, contractors, just like channel partners, are always anxious whether this bill will be passed and whom do they have to meet in the company so that the bill is passed fast. Yes, a lot of developers, everyone is using ERP systems to actually solve that. But if we can add a layer of transparency to that, I don't think there is any promoter here, real estate promoter, who feels that, it's okay for the system to continue as long as my system is continuing. I think everybody overlooks a lot of things inside the company just because we don't have much of a choice in a lot of matters, right? So I think that is where we can have a lot of transparency coming here, not just for a consumer, even for a contractor's point of view, when they know that, their bills can get passed on time because there is a system which is evaluating their bills properly, and it's not really being decided by a human being alone, right? So that will reduce a lot of anxiety from the contractor's point of view. So this system can probably integrate all these stakeholders across in a unified way where people know that, how can your raw material be converted into your product? How can your land be converted into an eventual home? There is a complete platform which is getting all the stakeholders with the right intent on board where their anxiety is reducing.
Fabulous. One thing Realty Plus has got to give me is we are absolutely bang on time till now. So I think there is one question coming to all four of you. Pick up the mic and respond as you feel like. If DaaS truly takes off in Bangalore, in Mumbai, in India, as a concept and as execution, will we move from a project-led development to a platform-led development in the next decade? And the provocative thought on that is, if DaaS truly empowers landowners, contractors, technology platforms, and channel partners to collaborate seamlessly, will the power in real estate actually shift from large developers into integrated ecosystems? Quick replies from all of you.
As previously we were saying that today, every efficiency, every time when we are trying to improvise any system which helps everybody, it does not create an opportunity of scarcity. It creates an opportunity of abundance. So that is what I feel, that the bringing in of DaaS is going to bring in an opportunity to have more variety, a bigger setup and a bigger system rather than erosion of already existing ecosystem of developers. And there is enough in market out there for the consumption to happen for the development which is going to take place into.
Similar answer, and as a country that, you look at our demand for housing, it's enormous and everybody has a space. Similarly, the large developer has their space, and service per DaaS as a service provider, it's a new platform and they have a space, and there's a lot to do in this country. There's a lot to build. So everybody has their place in the market.
So since I said I'm going to steal the Swiggy idea from Pavan. So Rameshwaram, everyone understands in Bangalore, right? 5 crores per turnover per month, and bigger it's growing. Right now it's at all airports. So has Swiggy coming in killed the smaller developers, or because the smaller developers, has it killed Rameshwaram? The answer is no. What it has just brought, because of the efficiency, it has brought more consumerism. Today a small, I know one shop who does 30 idli in Vijayanagar, Chetna or Ranjana, now they are also doing extremely well because the Instagram is now projecting them that they make those unique quality product. Swiggy is enabling them to provide that quality product. So people are getting far more experience. They have the opportunity now to, instead of just going to Rameshwaram every day, they can try 10 more things. But that has not brought down the turnover of Rameshwaram. What it is just doing, as both of them also said, it is just creating a larger market. When you have a area where a Puravankara comes in or a brigade comes in, does it kill the market for the smaller developer? No. it establishes that location as a very good market, and so all the customers and everyone is going to come because they know now Brigade will bring some commercial, everyone will bring, so it just creates a market. Any good thing, RERA coming in, has it killed everyone? The answer is no. It has just brought more confidence in the real estate that it will do better. People are more confident, things have become better, and post-COVID, that has just shown into better confidence into the customers. So all the systems, there was a story in 1984 when computers came in, everyone revolted. No, a computer came in, everyone's job will go in. Today, India is India in the world map because of those computers and the software business. So we should always take all those changes in stride and take the positive side of it.
Superb. And I'll tell you what, every panel discussion has takeaways. For me, the takeaway is be friends with Navin Dhanuka because he knows the most eating joints because he seems like a foodie in Bangalore. So, Pavan, would you want to talk about it? Sapna, you'll have to give me 2-3 minutes.
Just adding to the whole point everyone spoke about, I think more than shifting the equation, I think it's this will give some sort of a semblance of a balance. It's easy, like we are talking about the Swiggy only, right? It's easy now to plug into this model, right? So you don't have to worry about, see, typically a developer a good intent developer after they run one project, spending good quality time, they understand the whole intricacies of the whole project. The question is whether you have enough energy to do the next project. So this platform might actually help you plug in where you don't have to worry about the learning curve, right? Maybe the learning curve is shortened now and it brings us some sort of a balance so that, maybe it creates some sort of a semblance of a more level playing field. That's what I would say, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you to all 4 of you, Angad ji, Mallana ji, Navin and Pavan for fabulous. I think I will just sum it up by saying perhaps the future of real estate will not be defined by who owns the land, but it will be defined by who controls the platform in the future that brings the entire ecosystem together. One thing I'm very, very sure from all the seniors, whether it was Kushruji, whether it was Madhusudanji, Srini, and everybody else who spoke here, there is no substitute for hard work. Whether we bring in DaaS or whether we remain in SaaS, which is in the marriage with the spouse, right? And I can give you an example of that. I and my wife, we've been married for 35 years. We till date go out twice a week for a candlelit dinner and dance. And I manage it. She goes on Tuesdays, I go on Fridays. Thank you very much.
Let's give a big round of applause for what an interesting conversation this was. Yeah. Can we have a Kodak moment and a group picture?